Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Manitou Springs City Council for December the 2nd, 2025. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. And before I ask the city clerk to call the roll, I will mention that Mayor Pro Tem Natalie Johnson is joining us by Zoom tonight. She's in Denver. She has to take a flight out tomorrow morning on DIA. So precaution in the weather report being what it is, she's going to spend the night in Denver. So can you hear us, Natalie? Okay. All right. Elaine, if you go ahead and call the roll, please.
City Council members Judith Chandler,
Present.
John Shada, Julie Wolf,
Here.
Nancy Fortune,
Present.
Michelle Weatherholt,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Natalie Johnson,
Here.
and Mayor John Graham.
Present. Thank you. Okay. With that, we'll seek approval of the agenda. Council, you've all had a chance to look over the agenda, so I would seek a motion to approve and approve it.
I'll move approval of the agenda. Second.
Motion and a second. Let's vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Great, thank you. Okay, next item is public comment on non-agenda items. So this is a time during the meeting where anyone can speak on something that's not on the agenda. I will mention that we'll be discussing the budget later on, and there will be a time for the public to comment on that, just to be clear. Haven't received any notices that anyone wanted to speak. Is there anyone who wants to speak to a non-agenda item? Okay, if not, we'll push on. Next item is the consent calendar. We have 3 items on tonight's consent calendar. First is the approval of the October 21, 2025 City Council meeting minutes. Second item is the November 18, 2025 City Council meeting minutes. The third item is to reappoint Justin Wilson to the City Planning Commission. If any councilor would like to take an item off and discuss it separately, we can do so. If not, I would seek a motion to accept and approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Motion by Councilor Fortune. Do we have a second? Seconded by Councilor Wolf. Let's vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson,
Aye.
motion carries unanimously.
Great, thank you. And the next item, first business item, is consideration of resolution number 1625, a resolution of the City of Manitou Springs City Council urging the registered electors of the Manitou Springs Metropolitan District to vote yes on the city's plan for dissolution of the Metropolitan District. I'll go ahead and read that and then ask for council comment. Council Bill number 3925, Resolution 1625, a resolution of the City of Manitou Springs City Council urging the registered electors of the Manitou Springs Metropolitan District to vote yes on the city's plan for dissolution of the Metropolitan District. Whereas the Manitou Springs Metropolitan District was formed by downtown Manitou Springs businesses in 1989 to provide parking facilities to promote easy and affordable access for people to visit downtown Manitou Springs. And whereas the Metro District now owns and operates the Wichita and Shmishni parking lots in downtown Manitou Springs, but operates independently of other city-owned and managed parking lots, as well as the on-street parking elsewhere throughout the city. And whereas the city has developed other parking facilities and established an in-house parking department and a parking enterprise fund. The City Council has determined that the Metro's services and functions can be provided more efficiently by the city, and that having 2 parking authorities results in confusion and creates redundant administrative needs. Additionally, the city is in a far better position to provide or coordinate related amenities, such as restroom facilities and public transit services. And whereas the city desires to have a single integrated parking program for the benefit of its residents and visitors, and to thereby promote convenience, efficiency, and clarity with a single set of policies and practices. City Council believes that the dissolution of the district is in the best interest of the residents, business owners, and taxpayers. And whereas Manitou Springs residents in the downtown face difficult and limited parking options, and the city desires to provide those residents with better options through an expanded, improved parking program. And whereas the city believes a portion of the revenue from the parking lot should be considered for the maintenance, beautification, utility, or other enhancements of the downtown. And whereas both the city and Metro District submitted dissolution plans to the District Court of El Paso County, Colorado. On November the 12th, 2025, the court ruled that the city's plan complied with state requirements, while the Metro District's plan did not. The court adopted the city's plan and ordered a special election to be held on the question of dissolution of the district. And whereas we, the Manitou Springs City Council, are reaching out to the registered electors of the Manitou Springs Metro District to ask their support by voting yes in favor of the dissolution. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council representing Manitou Springs, Colorado, that Section 1, the Manitou Springs City Council fully supports the adoption of the city's dissolution plan for the Metro District. Section 2, the City Council urges all Metro District electors to vote in favor of the dissolution. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon approval and adoption by City Council. Adopted at the meeting of the Manitou Springs City Council, Colorado on this second day of December 2025. So Council, we'll open up this to discussion. We would need a motion and a vote to approve this. Michelle?
I move to adopt resolution number 1625, a resolution of the City of Manitou Springs City Council urging the registered electors of Manitou Springs Metropolitan District to vote yes on the city's plan for dissolution of the Metropolitan District.
Great, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Chandler. Any further discussion? Nancy, please.
Yeah, will this be posted on the city webpage and on city social media?
Yes.
Thank you.
In this, I would add that this is one opportunity for the city to formally show our support and some of our rationale behind this. So this is a useful step for the city to take. Okay, we have a motion, a second. Do we have any further comment? If not, let's vote.
Mayor Pro Tim Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Great. Okay, thank you very much. Next item is consideration of approval of easement agreement for Crown Castle Towers 09 LLC 338 Alpine Trail. And we'll hear from Fred, our planning director, regarding this.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. For the record, Fred Rollenhagen, Planning Director. I don't have a PowerPoint presentation on this, but everything that you should have should be in your packet. Very quickly, the purpose of this action item is to consider approval of the easement that's in your packet, or the easement agreement that would provide legal access and use to a portion of the telecommunications facility that is encroaching on potentially city-owned right-of-way. And I explained in my memo what we meant by that by potentially. This is required by section 12.04.050 in the municipal code that requires a revocable license agreement for when an encroachment is occurring onto city-owned city property or city right-of-way. But a little bit of background, this comes after the property owner, which is Crown Castle Towers, recently provided staff with a survey and other information that appears to show a road known as Pine Tree Path, or AKA Lincoln Road, running along the property line where this telecommunications facility is located at 338 Alpine Trail. And it shows a portion of a cell tower base encroaching onto this road. The property owner had inquired whether the city owns this road, and if so, would request an easement for the encroaching improvement. So this survey is a 2015 survey that was provided and shows the shows the Crown Castle property with the location of the telecom facility encroaching onto a road known as named Pine Tree Path. Also, the property owner provided the original replatted plan of the city of Manitou Springs, which was dated 1882, with the subject property outlined in red with a line or a linear feature that appeared to be a road or could be considered a road. The city's attorney was unable to find any basis for the Clark survey or the other exhibits calling this Pine Tree Path, Lincoln Road, or an unnamed road. And also the attorney working on this for the title company has not found any basis either. But nevertheless, the attorney for the title, in order to clean up any potential encroachment that might exist, the attorney for the title company and his client offered to draft up an easement, essentially with no warranties of title from city, pursuant to which the city grants Crown Castle an easement for the tower that is located partially in the surveyed roadway. The easement that is in your packet indicates that to the extent that the city owns it, it grants to Crown Castle an encroachment easement until the tower is removed or abandoned. Additionally, the property owners have offered the city $2,500 based on fair market value and the time the city's attorney and staff have spent on this matter. So with that said, staff recommends granting of the easement and receival of $2,500.
Thank you, Fred. Questions from council? Julie?
Don't we usually charge when we give these easements to help pay us back for our attorney fees that we have to pay and the staff time and such? Is there a fee that we're charging?
That's in a potential. That's in a.
I thought we usually charge a fee to just pay ourselves back for the expenses involved in doing this.
No, that's not in the fee schedule currently. That's something that is going to be considered in a future ordinance for the easement that we had identified with a previous easement request. But I don't believe there's a specific fee in the fee schedule for that.
So does that prohibit us from charging a fee? That would be a question for our city attorney, please. If it's not in the fee schedule, we're not allowed to be reimbursed?
I mean, I think as far as I can tell, it looks like the $2,500 looks like it did it actually incorporate some of the costs for our firm to take a look at it? Or was that not that wasn't actually included in, is $2,500 just the fair market value, or does it also include our fee as well?
That was the answer I received from Jeff Parker. Was it included the estimated value as well as staff time? Yeah,
that was kind of my understanding as well. But no, I mean, I think in negotiating an easement, I mean, you could certainly factor that in, even absent the fee schedule. But it sounds like that was actually accounted for in this case.
Thank you.
Sure.
Other questions from council? Okay. Well, this looks like it's really kind of a housekeeping situation. And it's not unheard of that some of Manitou's maps don't match reality. Some of the wishes, I guess, of real estate developers in the past didn't come to fruition, leaving a situation for us to clean up. Well, if there's no further interest in discussing this, maybe it's time for a motion. Nancy?
I move that we approve the easement and accept the $2,500 in compensation for the fair market value and the attorney and staff time. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Seconded by Councilor Wolf. Any further discussion? Let's vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson?
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks, Fred. Okay, next item, consideration of resolution number 1525, a resolution adopting an updated universal fee schedule. And we have Becca Davis, our finance officer, to walk us through this. And the universal fee schedule is basically one-stop shopping for all the charges the city makes for services and such things. So we periodically update it when we need to adjust prices. Becca, thank you.
Good evening. So as the mayor said, all the city's fees are corralled in the universal fee schedule, which allows city council to approve fee changes by resolution when needed. The changes tonight are for the water, sewer, storm drainage rates as per the rate studies that were performed in 2023 and 2024. Also, there's increases in the Memorial Hall rental rates, which is due to the improvements in this facility, which will be happening soon. And then finally, Fire has informed me that there's a batch of fees in this fee schedule for services that they no longer provide because it's been outsourced. So they recommended all of those be removed. And so that's all the changes that are in this particular fee schedule. Are there any questions I can answer?
Nancy, please.
Yeah, Becca, on our cover sheet, under the rate study changes under Public Works section, in the comments, it says per month on each water utility account as of 2025, no longer discontinued with suspension of water sewer account. I just didn't understand what that meant.
That's a good question. I'm going to have to get back to you. I don't remember it right now. I've been a little distracted. So I'm afraid I cannot give you a better explanation for what exactly that means.
Okay, but the $22, the new fee of $22 is going to be per month, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Julie, please.
I need help understanding this chart that's in the memo. So under Memorial Hall rental, the line above the word Memorial Hall says $160, and I see there are no changes. And the explanation for the $160 says plus additional fee per day, 100 to 200 people. So what's the $160 for?
I would have to look at the fee schedule. This was just a snip. I was trying to pull out the changes and you could see the changes are in red. So when I made the snip, I didn't get that quite snipped properly. So that 160 is for something else entirely different. And there was no change in it because there's nothing in red by it.
Okay, also, it just didn't make sense to me. If you look further, it says Monday through Friday, 2 hours is $47 an hour. So what if it's 3 hours? Is it still $47 an hour, or does that imply that
I
that the
think
price changes, or does it come free after that, or what's?
what it tells me is that you can rent the hall for 2 hours, but after that, you're renting it for the whole entire day, even if it's just 3 hours.
Oh, so you have a choice of 2 hours or
entire
all day?
Yes. And that's how we lost.
And where's the all-day fee?
The all-day fee,
I thought I saw it when I first.
let's
Oh,
see
God.
here. Reserve, let's see, Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all day per day, 515.
So all day is 160 for non-residents, plus additional fee per day 100 to 200 people. What does that mean?
I would say that the 150 increase to 160 is when you reserve an extra day for setup or cleanup after your regular rental. So then I would say that your resident use fee is $515 for Saturday and Sunday, all day per day. And it looks like to me that we don't really let you rent it Monday through Friday. This would be a question for the special event coordinator.
Well, it says Monday through Friday is $47 an hour for 2 hours.
Right. And then after that, it would seem like it would have to be two for the full day.
We normally don't rent Monday through Friday all day because we have evening meetings. Most of the time, that includes us or other evening meetings here. That's city business.
So I would suggest it makes more sense if we're going to approve this tonight to take the words 2 hours off and just show $47 an hour for the Monday through Friday part for both residents and non-residents, rather than leaving it undefined about what happens past the 2 hours.
Mayor, may I make a recommendation? If we make that change, that we just bring this back next week, because we don't have the individuals that know this inside and out here, and that's how it's been written for years. So I'd like to get their input before we make a change to make sure that we understand what that change would be.
That seems reasonable to me. How's the rest of council feel? I see heads
That's
nodding.
fine with me.
Okay,
I'll postpone other questions then until the other people come next week. Thank you.
okay. If we have other questions, I guess this would be a good time to ask them so we can clear all this up next week. Are there any other questions or concerns the council has so we can get the research done in the coming week? I guess
We
not.
just have the rest of the chart on the Memorial Hall rental. I mean, just the whole thing kind of cleaned up or explained better.
Okay. So Michelle?
Julie, I just wanted to add that, sorry. The $160 is for Mansions Pavilion, non-residents use fee. So it's $160 per day up to 99 people, and then additional $160 for 100 to 200 people for mansions. And it's on page 18 of 28 on our fee schedule.
Thank you. So I guess my other question for next week would be, what if there's less than 100 people wanting to rent Memorial Hall? I mean, since this chart specifies that these are the rates to charge if we have between 1 and 200 people, what if it's 70 people? What if it's 30 people? What if it's 210 people? More information.
So Memorial Hall is not based on people. It's the pavilions that's based on people. Memorial Hall is just based on hours. So as she mentioned before, it's the Mansions Pavilion, which talks about people. And then you have Memorial Hall, which does not have the number of people.
Once again, I apologize for my snip, including that line above, but since it didn't have any red in it, I would thought it was
Okay.
okay.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, I get that. Well, then I guess just the 2-hour limit should maybe be eliminated or explained better. And I guess that would be the only help I need.
Okay, thank you, Julie. John?
Yeah, I move we postpone item resolution 1525 until December 16th. And that people who have questions, they get them into staff so that we can get these questions answered.
Second.
11th?
Okay, so we have a meeting, our next council meeting will be December 11th. That's
The 11th.
Thursday
Okay, I'm
of
sorry.
next week. And
Uh,
that will
the
be,
11th.
that's a special meeting. We need to do that so we can get the budget done.
I'm sorry, the 11th. That'll be a
could-
regular meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Shada, second by Councilor Chandler. Any further discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson?
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Very good. Okay, and the next item is first reading of ordinance number 2325, an ordinance adopting the annual budget and appropriating funds for fiscal year 2026 and amending the annual budget for fiscal year 2025. And before we get into that, I'd like to mention a couple things. The state requires us to present a finalized budget by the 15th of December. So we're on something of a deadline we're dealing with. We have to do this with in two sessions. So tonight is this will be first reading of the ordinance. We will be having a special meeting next week on Thursday. That'll be December the 11th to consider the budget ordinance on second reading so we can get that done in time for the December 15th deadline. Now, that said, the city council can adjust or modify the budget, amend the budget throughout the year. We can do that anytime. We're not restricted. Cities have to be able to respond to fiscal reality as throughout the year. So there is the city will have the opportunity to do that, and I believe the city council in February is going to be spending has a number of there's several meetings scheduled to do that. So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and consider this tonight. Becca, I'd like to give you the opportunity to discuss it, and then we will we'll be entertaining some public comment. So go, Becca.
Thank you, Mayor. So the budget I'm presenting tonight is the same as the one presented on October 15th, with the addition of lease purchase payments in the sewer fund and the mobility and parking fund. These payments were not included in that presentation, but they've been added since then because those funds will be purchasing some equipment, which has already been discussed. Also, this includes the COG reimbursement. Now, on Saturday, November 22nd, City Council discussed how you would like this to be allocated. So please note, you will need to make that clear when you make the motion tonight to approve this budget. You'll need to define how you want that done. Now, we understand that there's concerns about using reserves to balance the budget. This is not a sustainable approach, and we are committed to ensuring it does not become a reoccurring solution. While we are not in a financial crisis, we are in a time of concern that requires proactive planning and decisive action. Our reserves exist to provide stability during periods of uncertainty, and their use now allows us to maintain essential services without abrupt disruptions. At the same time, we continue to look for reductions, and for the 2026 budget, we successfully reduced expenses by 5.6%, demonstrating our commitment to fiscal responsibility. However, reductions of this magnitude are not sustainable year after year without impacting core services. Looking ahead, the priority for the coming year must be identifying and securing new revenue sources, whether through an additional sales tax, amusement tax, property tax, or other avenues. This focus is vital to restoring structural balance and ensuring long-term financial health. Community engagement over the next several months will be essential as we explore these options together. Your input will help shape the decisions that strengthen our fiscal foundation. We are in this together. Thank you for your trust as we navigate this responsibly and with transparency. Are there any questions?
Nancy, please.
Yeah, Becca, you said that the two accounts that were increased from the budget we got back in October
Mhm.
were sewer enterprise and parking enterprise. But also, I had asked at the 22 November meeting if the the $2,000 to HAB would be included.
They were not included at this time. So if you want to make that change also, that would be required to be included in the motion.
Okay, yes,
And I apologize for that.
thank you.
Julie, please.
I should know the answer to this, but I don't. In the chart, it says under revenues available funds, prior year ending fund balance. Does that mean the year prior to the one that's listed in the column?
Right. It's when I say the prior year, let's see, that was
Like-
in,
Like if you could give me an example, so under 2026 original budget, the prior year ending fund balance is 6,777 and some
Julie,
change.
Julie, could you tell us where you're at so we can follow along?
Oh, I'm under revenues and available funds.
Okay. Does that,
General fund, summary of general fund revenues and expenditures. And then on the left, it says revenues available funds, and there are all these columns. And if you look at the 2026 column under original budget, it says 6,777,571. And
That's-
so is that for the ending fund balance at the end of 2025?
Yes, that's the projected fund balance at the end of 2025.
Okay, thank you. And when you said, Becca, that, I think you said that this includes the COG reimbursement, what does that mean? Where's?
the COG reimbursements under economic development, and that was the $690,000. So it's under economic development currently.
And does this include the 690,000 that we decided or voted or discussed, I guess would be the word,
Discussed.
to be allocated to wildfire mitigation?
Right. You couldn't really give us, you couldn't make that decision at that meeting, which is why you have to make that decision tonight.
I see. So there's not a separate line item in this, in our chart for that at this time.
That is correct.
So that would be kind of the same as where Nancy's 2,000 for the HAB would go.
Exactly.
And then just logistically, it looks like the ordinance asks us to vote on two different issues. One is the 2025 annual budget as amended, and the other is the 2026 annual budget as proposed. Can we, is there a problem with separating those out as two separate ordinances so that you don't necessarily have to agree with both of them? Those are like two different issues.
That's never been done before. This is ordinance, it's been a standard one we've used for multiple years, but that doesn't mean we can't. That I would say that's an attorney legal
Yeah, I
question.
see no reason why they'd have to be, well, you'd have to vote yes on both or no on both, and those are the only two choices?
No, I think you're right. You could split them out if needed. I also, there isn't any issue also with having them in the same ordinance, but if needed, you could split them out as two separate, ordinances and two separate votes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that would personally be my preference. Thank you.
other comments from council? Go ahead, John.
Becca, how do we make the suggestion that we have the wildfire fund? Where would that be in this?
That would be, I would
We
say,
have to specify the
yes,
name of
you would
that
have to
fund?
specify that it, let's ask the.
You would have to specify it as a motion in your motion when you do approval with these changes, and you would want that in a assigned,
An assigned fund?
yes.
Right.
Okay,
Assigned
that's what
fund
it's after
balance.
is that word. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Judith, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm on on page 2, the top of page 2, where it says ending balance unreserved under 2026. You have an amount of $4,335,868 for the proposed ending unreserved balance for 2026.
Yes.
Okay. So I've been on council since 2020, and every year since 2020, including 2020, so 6 years now, I have heard you say to us that it is incumbent upon us to have a healthy reserve, and certainly a reserve that doesn't fall below 5 million. And I made this comment clear on the Saturday budget retreat. And you just tonight in your opening comment, and I'll quote you, you said, quote, "We continue to look for reductions." Did you mean we, the city staff, the administration? Who's we?
The staff.
Okay, so the whole purpose of a budget retreat, which I don't classify what happened on the 22nd as a budget retreat, because I've had budget retreats with this very council that were amazing and productive. And I have walked away from them thinking, wow, we did a really great job, because we spent hours and hours rolling up our sleeves as representatives of the Manitou citizenry, because it is incumbent upon us, and it is our job to make recommendations on budget cuts. And I know that there are several city council members that didn't get the memo that that wasn't going to happen on the 22nd, that we were only allowed to talk about 5 or 6 issues. I came with 6 pages worth of proposed budget cuts. And so the reason that I will be voting no on this first reading is that we are falling below a comfortable budget reserve limit by at least $670,000. And we didn't do our job on the 22nd, which was specifically to roll up our sleeves and discuss at least proposed cuts that might be coming next year. I know several council members, including myself, got some emails from some confused citizens that said, you know, we were told on that if 2A didn't pass, we were facing some budget cuts. And then what we did on the 22nd was something that I thought, you know, really at the end of the day, I could have phoned that in. I could have texted that in, I could have emailed that in. So to me, I'm very concerned that about the process that we are looking for cuts means that the city administration is finding cuts when that is in fact our job. I have the luxury of voting against it today because I have every clear indication that it will pass on first reading tonight, and I will be in the minority. So this is a statement that I'm very disappointed with the process, and I want city council, especially the incoming new people who were at the retreat, to understand that that is incumbent upon us as council members to come to the budget retreat with our recommendations, not just hear recommendations from the city. So I can certainly understand how confused the community is. And we are at least $664,132 below your recommendation that we don't go under 5 million. And that is concerning to me. Thank you.
Per the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, the best practice is a percentage of your expenditures or your revenues, whichever is more trustworthy. So I always use expenditures. And when I said 5 million, that was probably based more upon what those expenditures were at that time. We've decreased our expenditures quite a bit, which would reduce that amount. 5 million is not what what the Governmental Accounting Standards Board recommends. It says, yeah, it's a percentage, not a flat amount.
But you yourself said in your opening statement that you are concerned with where we are, and it would only take one emergency in 2026 for us to be in some significant trouble. So I feel like the language kind of changed in our conversation after 2A didn't pass, because at first we were very concerned about the 2026 budget. And now it feels to me like we're now more concerned with 2027. And I think we have to be equally, if not more concerned about 2026 as well. So that's just where I'm standing, coming from. And in the past, I know that you have presented your recommendations on whether it's a percentage or an actual number, that we be very careful that we don't go below a certain reserve number. And we are there, and we could have made suggested cuts. We could have made cuts. That was our job to do on the 22nd, to at least discuss possibilities of cuts. And that was an opportunity that was completely cut off from us on Saturday. And I'm still confused about that. So, and I think you're nodding yes. I think you understand where I'm coming from. So I hope we never have a budget retreat like that again.
Thank you. If I could add a couple things regarding that November 22nd budget retreat. Staff did present a couple of options to council. And basically, when we said that we wanted to divert the $690,000 from the COG and use it for fire mitigation and fire protection, I mean, prior to that, I mean, had we not done that, we would have a little more than $5 million for our reserve. So that was a decision that council, well, it was a work session, so it wasn't an official decision. That was the direction we felt we wanted to go, is to take that $690,000 and use it for fire mitigation and fire protection. Had we not done that, we would still meet the $5 million reserve goal, which is, you know, staff asked us to do that. That was direction that council gave staff. So staff shouldn't be blamed for that. And I guess if we wanted to, we could move the 690 back and have the $5 million reserve. I do think the $5 million reserve is a very important goal, because we don't know when we'll have disasters, how much risk we can afford. And certainly having cash on hand in the last few years has been helpful when we've gone for grants, because we've been able to make the matches. So we have leveraged the money quite well. Now, that said, also, I met with Mayor Pro Tem Johnson this morning, and the February 24th meeting will be a work session devoted to the budget. So that will be the day you bring your sharp knives and sharp pencils. So, and I know Julie and Judith, you've done a lot of work thinking about what needs to be cut or what could be cut. And I think probably everyone on council has given some of that thought. So on the 24th, that would definitely be a time when some precision surgery will be required. Also, prior to that, there'll be 2 community meetings. This would be for the general public to come in and basically it'd be a class budget 101. This would be February the 19th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. And then on the 21st, which I believe is a Saturday, it'll be Saturday morning from 9 to 11:30. So that's a chance for the community to come in and learn about the budget, because it is cutting items is not easy, and invariably something we cut will be something that's close to somebody's heart. It's going to be difficult. So we want to be, I think, careful and judicious about this in the early part of the year. As long as we hold off on capital projects, I don't think there's a whole lot of risk, because we typically spend money when we get into construction season. That said, we could have an emergency at any time, and that falls at any time. So I wanted to contribute those thoughts. Do we have other comments from Julie, please?
I appreciate that, Mayor. That's helpful to know. We'll be able to delve into this more deeply early February. I just want to clarify that when we discussed this at the Saturday meeting, we would only have been at the $5 million reserve number if, like the mayor said, we did not allocate money for wildfire mitigation to be in a segregated account, but also if we had voted against appropriating the tax refund to the COG in its entirety. That's how we could have gotten to 5 million. And I believe the way the discussion evolved was that we thought we would take the amount that was estimated that we would pay to the COG if we voted to appropriate that for them and reallocate it instead for wildfire mitigation. So either way, whether if we, allocated the money for the COG reimbursement without the wildfire, we'd still be at the same number we're at now, which is below 5 million. I also just want to make a comment for the record that when we were discussing the $5 million recommendation from Becca as the amount we should keep in reserves, I believe, Becca, you said that because we are a small city, and the, whatever it's called, government accounting, committee that recommends just a certain percentage that you keep for reserves. I thought you did a good job of explaining to us that that's just a number that applies across the board to all cities. And when you're a smaller city and you're working on a shorter, fewer resources that you can rely on, less income coming in the first place, that you made a convincing argument. It was convincing to me that for that reason, we shouldn't ideally go below the $5 million number. Not because, oh, we don't have that many expenditures anymore. It's because we're a small city. So, if downtown catches on fire or for any reason, the city has to close down its shops for 2 months or more, we're going to be happy if we have the 5 million. So I thought that was the explanation for the 5 million. And I think that made sense, but I understand we'll have an opportunity to debate that in February, and I look forward to that.
Thank you. I'd like to open it up to public comment here, but if there are any comments that council would like to make before we do that, and we'll come back to this, so council will have a chance to discuss this more thoroughly if desired. If council has no objections, I guess I'd like to open up the public comment portion of this. So anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to this is welcome to do so. You'd have 3 minutes to do so. I know it was a pretty good turnout for the work session that we had on November 22nd. We had 20 to 30 people. Anybody want to talk to it, ask questions? Marty? Yeah, okay. And then this is new for council too. And I just found, okay, so first off, we'll start. Okay, on February the 19th and the 21st, we'll have 2 community meetings. The 19th would be from 5:30 to 8 p.m. On the 21st, which I believe is a Saturday, that would be in the morning from 9 to 11:30. Okay, so it's basically, the intent is to give the public, anyone who wants to listen, an overview of the budget process and the budget. So think of that as Budget 101. So that's, those are both 2 public meetings. And then on February the 24th, City Council will meet in work session to go over the budget. And I would anticipate that that's going to involve some serious discussions about reductions and so forth. We have a lot of things that are interdependent. We have sequence of things that have to happen in some cases, and particularly with capital improvement projects. So, for instance, in the analogy of, if we're going to replace a water or sewer line, we should do that before we pave the street. Okay, you can see that there's a sequence there that we want to follow just to, make it logical and common sense and not waste money. So some things like that come into play with long-term planning. Diane, please. Diane, please, if you come forward here. No, that's okay. I should have made Marty do that too. Sorry. Yeah, so Diane, if you give us your full name and address.
My name's Diana Salinas, and I live at 134 Crystal Park Road. I'm a little confused about that reimbursement to the COG. If you choose not to put that in fire mitigation, then are you obligated to reimburse the COG? Is that a discretionary decision on your part? Or if you choose not to reimburse them, do you have to justify why you're not?
I think that's why we have a lawyer in the audience. Dan, can you respond to that? Did you hear the question sufficiently?
Yeah, I think I did hear it. You know, and to be honest, I'm not as up to date as Jeff is on the COG and the reimbursement itself. So I guess I wouldn't feel comfortable speaking to that, but I think we can definitely inform council on that, you know, before the next meeting. It's just that I'm not as familiar with the fund and the kind of the back story to all of it.
Okay, well then.
So my
Dana-
apologies.
No, I understand. So
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about this on December 11th, a week from this coming Thursday. So if you could provide direction prior to that, if we could have something to put in our packets, that would be a good answer. I mean, that would
Sure,
help.
no problem, Mayor.
Okay.
Because it seems such a big part of the budget. You know,
It
that
is.
could
No,
keep you at the 5 million, or if you spend it, it brings you below that. So I think it's a critical part of the budget.
that's a good question. Yeah. We did get an answer. Julie, did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I just have a recommendation, even though I don't think, what I'm about to recommend is necessarily mandatory. But I do believe it would behoove us, even though this is simply first reading and not second reading, to make a statement on the record at the time when a motion is made, to clarify or to indicate that, rather than reimbursing the COG this year, we have chosen, you know, pursuant to paragraph 15, which is our discretion. We have instead chosen to allocate that same dollar amount to a wildfire mitigation fund that would be funds exclusively available for wildfire mitigation. And so, you know, maybe technically we don't have to say that and to explain why on the record until second reading, but it doesn't hurt to put it on the record here for first reading, just like it was nicely put on the record during our budget retreat Saturday meeting as well. So I don't know if that answers your question, but the city's supposed to decide if it's reasonable and in the city's best interest, whether to allocate tax reimbursement money to the COG or not, and to have a debate about it and a vote on it and have a reason. That would be my suggestion for tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. My
That's all.
question was answered.
Okay, great. Okay. Would anyone else like to speak to this? Okay, now there'll be an opportunity for public comment on the 11th as well. But remember, that only gives us 4 days. So, you know, it's helpful for council to hear things tonight. That gives us a little more time to consider things or do research if necessary. So, anybody else? Just a second, John, I was going to close public comment, but did you have something that's germane before? Okay, let me go ahead. In that case, I'm going to close public comment. Very good. And Shada, Mr. Shada?
Yes, I move we approve this budget subject to the following changes. That we change the economic development line item to be $635,237. And that we add, as Becca suggested, a fund balance committed for wildfire mitigation. Is that correct, Becca? I'm looking to you. Under the assigned funds, and that we put $690,000 in 2026.
That's correct. It would
Is that
be an
correct?
assigned fund balance within the general fund.
Right.
John, can you repeat the first part of your?
Yeah, could you, and John, could you cite the places in the budget here so we can follow
Yeah,
along so we
well,
can see where?
I'm suggesting we change economic development, which is in the expense portion of the budget.
What page are you on?
Just a second.
Looks like it's page 1, I think here. Is it
Well,
line-
I'm looking, I'm not on that page there. I'm in the summary of general fund balances and expenditures. And so there's a line item in there that is economic development.
Right, that includes the that includes the amount that's designated per the code for economic development, the discretionary amount, and then the COG reimbursement. So
Right,
there's three
so-
separate accounts.
So the amount in there is $1,325,000, 237, and I'm suggesting that we change that to be 635,237. So the difference between that is $690,000. And that we add a line item further on down when we get into these fund balances, and that we add that fund balance and we name it. I believe the way she's got it in here is fund balance assigned for wildfire mitigation. Is that not the way, the correct title that you would like it to be?
Basically just moving the 690 down to the new fund.
Exactly. So I'm just trying to amend what is here visually in front of you. So if you're basically, because that's the only thing that we have here. I mean, we don't have any other numbers to fool around with,
And
right?
I assume you're saying that that's the COG reimbursement that you're wanting dedicated to
Yeah, so
wildfire.
I guess that is,
We're moving it.
I guess that, but that's not in front of us. So I guess that's sort of kind of a notation.
Okay, was everybody able to follow along on the, on your spreadsheets?
I'll second that.
Okay,
Could I do a friendly amendment?
motion in a second. Okay, yes, let's open the discussion. Nancy?
Oh, I'm sorry, the 2,000 for the HAB.
Oh, 2,000 for the HAB. You're,
They had requested it. I've been told twice that it would be included at their request. So
No. So what item needs to be changed?
Well, it doesn't need to be changed. We need to discuss it before we need to change it.
Well, I know, I'm just trying to figure out what department it gets put
It's in the planning department.
in the planning department.
I'd rather,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Julie.
because there are so many different things to discuss in February, about the budget, I'd rather talk about the 2,000 HAB money in February along with lots of other things personally, rather than insert that now. It's a relatively minor amount compared to, $500,000 and more dollars that we're dealing with.
Which is
Just
why I'd
a
like
lot
to
of little
include it
things
tonight.
that will
Yeah.
be discussed in February.
Excuse me, Nancy, what was the amount?
$2,000.
$2,000.
All
I
the other-
guess I would accept as kind of a friendly amendment that we amend the planning department budget to 565,445.
Okay, and where would you take the 2,000 from?
Well, I guess that means that the unassigned
Yeah, it comes from
think that goes
reserves.
down by,
It comes out of reserves.
Okay, that's going to, okay, that's,
yeah.
okay,
so-
that's what I thought. Okay, I mean, that's the obvious solution, but it's philosophically maybe what we didn't want to do, but $2,000, I think, provides a measure of comfort to the HAB folks. Okay, so John, okay, we have a motion, a second. You withdraw this.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Not comfortable with the friendly
So-
amendment.
So it sounds like Nancy was second. John, could you restate that? State, I mean, we'll see if, I
Okay,
think
so
Nancy will.
economic development, goes to 635,237. With essentially the notation that Becca commented that it's not shown on here, but the expanded portion of the economic development budget is zeroing out the COG reimbursement. And that we are creating under the assigned funds, a fund balance committed for wildfire mitigation under 2026 to be $690,000. And that we are adding $2,000 to the planning department budget. And we are removing $2,000. The unreserved is what it's in the, on the paper, goes to 4,300,000 35 333 3868.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Counselor Fortune. Okay. And I guess Becca, you're furiously writing notes down there. I think there may be a couple of subtle nuances in the budget that council may not fully appreciate. So if you have thoughts on that, this would be a good time for us to hear that.
No, as long as it's just two changes, we can get these incorporated within time. And once again, my apologies. I did tell Nancy that that would be included and then I did not. So
Okay, thank you.
it's
We understand.
purely on me.
Okay. Okay, we have motion second. Any further discussion by council? Okay, let's vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-2 with Counselor Wolf and Counselor Chandler as the dissenting votes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll be back for the second reading next week on the 11th. That's Thursday night. Okay,
Mayor, what about this second part? Becca, do we need another vote to approve the amended 2025?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
okay. Okay, you go ahead, please, Julie.
I move to approve the City of Manitou Springs fiscal year 2025 annual budget as revised, as reflected in our packet.
Second.
Discussion? Guess. Okay, no further discussion. Let's vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, very good. Thank you, Becca.
Thank you.
Okay. And again, council, you have those February dates, so certainly hang on to your list of ideas as to what to cut. I have a little list of mine, which I guess I'll submit before I leave office, and you can do what you want with it.
Oh, does that mean you're going to come to the meeting?
Oh, if I'm invited, I might. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right, so we've got the budget taken care of. Hearings. Okay. Continuation of second reading and public hearing of ordinance number 1925 concerning accessory dwelling units, occupancy limits for dwelling units, and parking restrictions for multifamily residential development. We have Fred, our planning director, here for this. We have discussed it previously. We sent it back for some additional consideration by the Planning Commission. And Fred, if you'd like to bring us up to date, that'd be great.
Okay, Mayor, thank you very much. For the record, Fred Rowland, Hagen Planning Director. So I'll go through this PowerPoint presentation. I've got a couple of additional items that are not in the PowerPoint, but are in the packet, and we can go from there. But this is the second meeting of the second reading for consideration of Title 18 code revisions, which includes housing occupancy limits, accessory dwelling units, and minimum parking requirements for multifamily development. Next slide. Thank you. Just as recap, as you know, these are code revisions in response to state land use legislation, House Bill 24-1007, 24-1152, and House Bill 24-1304. Those are housing occupancy limits, accessory dwelling units, and minimum parking requirements for new family development. You had made a decision on housing occupancy limits and minimum parking requirements, and the remand back to CPC was regarding accessory dwelling units. Next slide. So here is a quick timeline. Planning Commission heard their public hearing on September 10th, made a recommendation that City Council considered during their first reading on October 7th, and there were some additional limitations that were requested to be seen in writing regarding construction in front yards, conversion of covered parking spaces to ADUs, ADUs use as short-term rentals, and also looking at ADUs on properties that currently contain multiple single-family residences. After that, City Council had their second reading on October 21st. And council approved limitations regarding short-term rentals and regarding ADUs on properties that contain multiple single-family residences. The remand to CPC was in regards to the other two known as sections E and F, construction in front yards and conversion of covered parking spaces to ADUs. A couple things that I wanted to say right now. I understand that the council, as we know, the council did have lots of discussion on whether to allow a number of different things, including ADUs, to be in existing structures in front yards, and whether they should be allowed to be expanded or not. When staff took the remand back to the Planning Commission, staff was focused on specifically council's motion and approval for remand, which was simply to take parts E and F to the Planning Commission for consideration. And so staff wanted to be sure that that was communicated to the Planning Commission. So it was a little, when we took it to Planning Commission, it was a little bit broader than the specific topics that council were discussing. The Planning Commission had considerable discussion and looked at various alternatives. Staff had included some talking points, including about allowing garages to be converted to ADUs on property, and what Planning Commission thought about additions to those structures. The discussion that Planning Commission had was essentially considering structures in front yards, or not considering structures in front yards at all, and that CPC went into the direction of not allowing detached ADUs in front yards, and then focusing on considering attached ADUs anywhere as a lower impact alternative. So if you could go to the next slide. The next slide is the Planning Commission's recommendation in regards, so I wanted to put that into context. So the Planning Commission had recommended to remove or eliminate the last sentence regarding setbacks, and we're looking at Part E. Eliminate the last sentence regarding setbacks for attached ADUs. And actually, after this was approved, staff was looking at this, and I think in order to be in conformance with the spirit of the Planning Commission's recommendation, we probably need to add one word at the beginning of the first sentence, clarifying that is detached ADUs shall not be located in front yards, implying that attached ADUs could be in front yards as long as they're attached to the residence. And then indicating that the minimum front setback for a detached ADU shall be the rearmost facade of the primary residence, making sure that they're in the backyard. As for F, the Planning Commission recommends to get rid of F altogether. Next slide, please. So just for information, for full disclosure, I wanted to provide these next two slides to the City Council, because this is information that the Planning Commission had when they were making their recommendation. Staff provided some potential theoretical theoretical scenarios in which you have a house in the middle of a lot with room to build all around it, in particular in the front yard. And the staff wanted to make sure that the Planning Commission knew what that section E would do in blue. And so if you see the far right scenario with a lot indicating that the area in blue is the area that would be restricted or not allowed to have any EDUs if section E were approved as written. We also wanted to note to the CPC that there is the historic district guidelines includes limitations and additional review by HPC if an ADU or any kind of incidental structure were to be proposed in the front yard or in view of the travel roadway. The historic district guidelines does not prohibit accessory structures in front yards, but it provides additional oversight by the Historic Preservation Commission and allows the Historic Preservation Commission to regulate what's in the front yard or not allow a proposal if it detracts from the historic nature of the primary structure that's on the property. Next slide. And then this is a scenario that staff wanted to provide Planning Commission regarding corner lots in particular, that staff saw that a scenario could occur where you have a corner lot where you have two front setbacks, and that would really, if Part E were adopted, it could potentially limit quite a bit on where you could put an ADU. And next slide. So the language that's recommended by CPC is here in blue with the things that they do not recommend slashed out. And what you see in red is some rationale for what that recommendation was. So what the recommendation for E is intended to do is to provide more flexibility for attached ADUs, and with the idea that historic district guidelines currently oversee development in front yards and could restrict development in front yards, and that current setbacks in the current code assure that impacts of attached ADUs are minimized. And then for section F, recommending that F be eliminated altogether. Two things that were noted. Number one, the parking code currently requires off-street parking to be maintained for current uses. So if you have a single-family residence, there's 2 parking spaces, and those 2 parking spaces are required for the single-family residence. Someone cannot eliminate that parking space, whether it's a garage or not, for an ADU because it's required by the code. And then also noting that restricting detached ADUs as recommended by the Planning Commission to the rear of the residence does eliminate the possibility of front and side yard parking structures being converted and eliminated.
Say that again, Fred, sorry.
If with the Planning Commission recommending that detached ADUs only be allowed in the backyard, that regulation on its own would restrict detached would eliminate the possibility of front or side yard parking structures from being converted if E, as proposed by the Planning Commission, were to be approved. Unless the garage is in the back. That's correct.
So, go ahead, Julie.
Well, I'll wait. I'll let you finish because I have a whole series of questions. I'm sorry, interrupt.
The other thing that I wanted to note, it's not in my presentation, but what's in your packet is a letter from the Housing Advisory Board recommending not adopting E or F at all. I won't go into detail, but also does not recommend adopting G, Part G, that disallows ADUs on parcels with multiple residences. That's something that was approved by City Council during the last hearing. So with that, if you go next slide, please. So that is the Planning Commission's recommendation. So some options for moving forward, you could approve the draft use standard as recommended by Planning Commission. You could approve the draft use standards ENF that was remanded by City Council. You could approve these two standards with amendments as proposed, as stated, or not approve the draft use standards E or F.
Excuse me, Fred, before we move on, Counselor Chandler has a question for this specific slide.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that you mentioned that, that you would recommend if we approve E, that we add the word detached in front of ADUs to read detached ADU shall not be relocated in front yards, so that this slide would be amended just to add that word detached.
Yes,
Your recommendation.
yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. That's my presentation.
Okay, yeah, Julie?
Okay, so let me take it from the top. If we're looking at 1804.04.3.7 subsection A, the definition. The definition of an ADU appears to be limited to property where there is a single family home. So if there's a duplex, you can't have an ADU, is that right? That's what it seems to be saying, and I didn't catch that the first time round. Was that the intent of the Planning Commission? Has to be on the same lot as a single family dwelling. So if it's a duplex and it's a huge lot, you can't have an ADU on it.
An ADU, correct. An ADU would need to be accessory. Yes, the way this definition is, an ADU would be accessory to a single family detached dwelling.
Only.
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was the intent. And then scrolling down under subsection B, use standards. I thought we had under number subsection B2 under size. What we were talking about last time when we were talking about size is our city attorney suggested that there be some language addressing whether there would be any height restrictions and among other things that he recommended. And I see under subsection 2 that we've got the square footage rules between 250 square feet is the minimum and no more than 50% of the primary dwelling, or 750 square feet total, whichever is larger. But I didn't see anything about height, and I wondered if height is maybe addressed in subsection 3, because I did not look at the table that's referenced in subsection 3, so I don't know what it says about dimensional standards. Is that where the issue of height is addressed? What does 1802.2.1-1 say? That's what's referenced in subsection 3.
Yep, I'll have to check that. I believe that is where height is addressed. I don't know what height, I don't know how it's
Yeah,
addressed.
I didn't look it up, so I just thought I would rely on you to look it up for me and just confirm that we do have height restrictions, or I mean, restriction isn't necessarily the right word, but parameters.
Okay, let me look it up.
Because it would be weird to me personally if you have a single family home that's yay high and then you have your ADU that looks like a castle next to it, like a big, elevator shaft or something going way up higher than the main house. But I don't know if that issue is addressed specifically in the table that's referenced in subsection 3 there.
Excuse me, while Fred's looking that up, Julie, it seems to like when we had this discussion several weeks ago that some of the provisions provided under the Historic Preservation Code also kind of inform this problem.
Yeah, but most of the properties in Manitou aren't subject to the Historic
Correct.
Preservation Code. There's a lot of non-historic. Most of the homes in town are non-historic, but yes, I would agree that the Historic Preservation Code would prevail. Well, I don't know if I should say prevail. If there's a conflict between anything in here and the Historic Preservation Code, then we've got a problem. I didn't anticipate that, but for a non-historic home, I just didn't know what this table said about dimensional standards because we asked, because then Natalie and I were going back and forth about it a little bit. And then Jeff Parker, or some wise person, said, let the planning commission make some recommendations and bring it back to us so that we're not just shooting from the seat of our pants,
Thank you. I did find it. Yes, that's where maximum building height is located, are in those tables. So there's a series of tables, and each table has dimensional standards for each zoning district.
So what that means to me then is that if there is a home that wants to have an ADU and the home is less than the maximum allowed, the ADU can go way higher than the home. Why not? Where does it say that's not allowed? Because what you're saying, if I understand it, is that number 3 says an ADU shall be subject to the same dimensional standards that apply to principal dwelling units. So if a principal dwelling unit allows a home that's, say, 2.5 stories tall, however many feet that is, but I've got a ranch house, I can have, my ADU can be all the way up 2.5 stories tall, according to what is written in this proposed ordinance.
Correct. And in
Did the planning commission have a chance to discuss that? Because I thought that was one of the things you were going to discuss and come back to us, but I didn't see any reference to that in your presentation.
no, the planning commission did not discuss that.
I think that's a problem.
So we went with the motion that was made in the minutes. So there was a very specific motion of what you asked us to review. And I pulled it up today so that we knew exactly, and it did not ask us to look at the height. So
Oh.
we went with the motion that Mr. Shada made and was seconded. And it says to look at, I believe, E and F. If I remember correctly, I'd have to pull it up. And then that's when they said they would just keep the height as per the land use code.
Well, I don't mean to be like accusing you of missing something in the motion. We just did a faulty motion, I think, but I would propose that there be a sentence added in this 18.04.3.7 subsection, where are we? B as in boy, subsection 3 under dimensional standards, that we add a sentence that says, in no event shall the ADU exceed the height of the principal dwelling unit. I mean, that's just me. Obviously, other people might want it to be lower than the main house, but I certainly wouldn't want it higher than the main house. So that was one of my issues. Then moving right along.
Sorry, Julie, before you move on, could you just point us to the section of the ordinance that you were just addressing?
Yeah,
And
so-
walk us through that again so we
Yeah.
can have a better understanding.
Page 4 of the memo, or page 83 of 98 in the packet, whichever way you want to categorize that. You can't see the actual citation on that page, the 18.04.3.7, but you can see the number 3. The top of the page says number 2, size. And after that paragraph, it says number 3, dimensional standards.
Right,
Do
yes, thank you.
See that?
Yes.
I just wanted to add a sentence at the end of number 3 that says the ADU shall not exceed the height of the principal dwelling unit. That's one of my suggestions.
Okay,
Let's see, let me just peek
Thank
at
you,
my
yeah.
other notes for a minute. Oh, I thought I read something in here, and unfortunately I left my notes on my desk at home. But I thought I read that it said that if there is an attached ADU, that the front of the ADU shall not exceed the front of the principal dwelling unit. Is there anything in here where would that talks about the attached ADUs and where they can be located?
That was identified in proposed condition number E under the use standards. That was in the last sentence that the Planning Commission recommended to remove. That's where you see the minimum front setback for an attached ADU shall be the frontmost facade of the primary
Okay.
residence.
At least it makes me feel less crazy. I just didn't pay attention to the fact that that was the crossed out sentence. I see. Well, since that sentence is crossed out, then where, if anywhere, does it talk about the minimum front setbacks for attached ADUs? Are there none?
There are no additional than what is currently allowed by zoning. So.
I see. So it would just be the standard setback.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Those are my only questions and suggestions.
Okay, thank you. Other comments from council?
And council, if I could just chime in too, I would just point out that state law just does not allow the ADU, the regulations for the ADU to be more restrictive than the single family house. So I think that the suggestion to put a restriction that it does not exceed the height is fine, but I think anything more restrictive than that would then potentially violate state law. So I think we're fine with the language as proposed, but I just want to point that out to council.
Oh, thank you. Then I guess I'm prepared to make a motion.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Hi.
Natalie has a hand raised. Natalie, please, you have the floor.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and I'm struggling with this, trying to zoom and look at my notes and look at the agenda. But anyway, no, I know that previously Julie and I had kind of come to some sort of an agreement in terms of having an ADU in the front of the property if there was an existing structure there already. And so I feel like that was something that we negotiated that was sort of lost in this. And I'd like to revisit that conversation, that we have some really interesting little buildings in the front yard currently, some interesting little garages and things that I think could certainly be converted. It wouldn't impact the neighborhood really in any way. And so I'd like to consider that, because ideally I'd be comfortable eliminating it entirely. But I think, again, Julie and I sort of had this compromise that I think council came to an agreement around that I'd like to revisit.
Okay, do you want to flesh that a little more, Natalie?
Let's see if I can do this. Hang on. It's hard because I just
Gonna
can't,
retract my compromised agreement, because I agree. I feel comfortable. I feel more comfortable with the Planning Commission's recommendation, which is more in line with my initial thought. I appreciate your rationale. You know, Natalie says there are some properties that have little sheds and little garages and stuff in the front yard that are detached. And she'd like those to be able to be converted to ADUs. I prefer the planning commission's position that we not do that. But, okay.
Okay. And Natalie, did you have more to say?
Well, just again, that for me, that is an important piece to this. So in general, I am comfortable moving forward with this without E or F. And so that's just going to be where I'm headed with this, if we're not going to sort of compromise on anything in the middle. And then as far as G, can we just go through that again? So for G, if you have like a property, I'm trying to think, so you have a property that has multiple rentals on it, essentially, is that, and then you could not add an ADU onto a property that has, can you explain that a little further for me?
Yes, that's correct. In some instances, you have multiple, what we call single-family homes on properties. Some people call them accessory dwelling units, but since currently the code does not define what an accessory dwelling unit is, how we look at it from the staff level is it's a single-family residence. So there may be two or more single-family residences on a property that have been there for a very long time. They may be legal conforming uses. They may be allowed by zoning or some other scenario. What the concern was that it can get very confusing to know how many ADUs might be allowed when we say that an ADU is allowed and can be accessory to a single family residence. So what does that mean if you currently have 3 single family residences on a property? Does that mean you can have 3 more ADUs? It can get a little confusing, and I think in order to meet the intent of the legislation, we wanted to be sure and clarify that ADUs are allowed where you have 1 single family residence on a property. That's where the intent lies. Other than that, if we have zoning districts that allow for multifamily housing, and that can continue as long as that any multifamily housing or new multifamily housing conforms to the current code.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. That helps me out a lot. So yeah, so at this point, I guess that was just that piece of whether or not we could come to some kind of agreement about some detached opportunities for ADUs in the front of a property.
Okay. Thank you, Natalie.
Mhm.
Judith?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just segueing in on this current conversation, I just remember when we were discussing ADUs in the front yard that, or structures that currently exist, there was a lot of discussion and it got really muddled about, could you take an existing structure and add another story or expand it out? And I think that's one of the reasons why we backed off of that, was, what would be the parameters then of what you could do to an existing structure. So I guess where I'm sitting with this is, I agree with the Planning Commission's recommendations and also your recommendation, Fred, to add the word detached in front of paragraph E. And just to remind us that everything's a pilot, and that I think it's great to just move forward with an ordinance for ADUs. I'm actually excited about it. And then, as with anything else, if we find that this is too restrictive and people are coming and they've got, other ideas, that we revisit this. And I'm sure that, Fred, you will let us know if that happens, so that we can easily revisit this, and if it is too restrictive. But I think this is a reasonable place to start.
Thank you. Nancy?
Which is my exact argument for eliminating E and F. I think that if people start building ADUs like crazy, then council may need to step in, but I don't see that happening at all. And I would also, I'd like to just address the HAB letter, and I think that this summarizes my thoughts on it quite well, where they say these added barriers, E and F and G as well, but I'm not as worried about G. These added barriers do not improve safety. They do not protect our town's character. I would say that we have so many unique lots here. I would be hard pressed to say what is the front yard, side yard, or backyard at my house, because it's just an unusual lot. And there are many, many lots like that in town. So I think that in and of itself is going to be challenging. So they do not protect the town's character. They do not help residents. They make ADUs harder to build in a municipality where they are already rare, and keeping unnecessary barriers in place conflicts with state law, community input, and our own housing needs. So I am against including E and F at all. I think it's just unnecessary. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Julie?
I have a new subject. I'm struggling with the wording of the definition, the accessory dwelling unit definition at 18.04.3.7 subsection A. Maybe it's because it's missing some commas or something, but it says, or maybe it's a typo. It says a subordinate dwelling unit located on the same lot as and attached. Is that supposed to say AN and attached, or is that supposed to be a comma after as and then just some awkward wording noting that you're referring to attached as well as detached? Do you see where I'm at?
Yes, I do. And I think I would agree with you. That needs to be an attached rather than and.
Okay, as an attached or, well, but then the sentence doesn't make sense, right? It's a unit located on the same lot as an attached or detached from a single family dwelling. That's not good grammar, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I'm happy to try to come up with some different wording, but if I understand the intent there being that it is a subordinate dwelling unit located on the same lot as a single family home. It cannot be on a lot with multiple single family homes. It cannot be on a lot with a duplex or a triplex or an apartment building. It's a unit located on the same lot as that has one single family home only on the lot. Is that the intent? Is that what you wanted to say? Or intended it to say? Because if that's what you meant, we can make it clearer.
Yeah, I understood. Yes, the intention of the definition is as loosely written is to say that you have the ADU is number one, a subordinate dwelling unit. Number two, it is located on the same lot as a single family detached dwelling. The subordinate dwelling unit could be attached or detached, attached to the single family dwelling or detached from it. And that.
Right. And then the thing that is missing that you didn't mention is that it only applies to lots with one single family home. Otherwise, it begs the question, if I have two single family homes on my lot, does that mean I can have an ADU or two ADUs? The answer is no, you can have zero, but that's not clear from the way it's currently worded or from your reiteration.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
maybe I'm spelling out the obvious, but I think it's easier to make it clear.
I understand.
So.
Julie, can we just maybe just remove the words and attached or detached from a? Because I don't know if that helps define the subordinate unit.
Well, then you'd want to take out the next detached as well, right? It's from a single family dwelling. So if I have two single family dwellings, I could have two ADUs, arguably. If I have two single-family homes on my lot, then I could have two ADUs, the way this is worded, because it doesn't say you only have one single-family home on the lot. It just says, I mean, I hate to sound like a lawyer, but if you say a single-family dwelling, then arguably if I have two single-family dwellings on my home, I should have two ADUs, the way this is currently, the way you've suggested, John.
Well,
Isn't
then
the-
maybe you ought,
I
then
mean,
maybe you ought to specify that any lot can only have only one ADU.
right, and that shouldn't be that hard. Yeah,
Isn't
So-
that addressed in page 4G?
well, I don't, what's the question?
Isn't that already addressed that?
It might be addressed, but that begs, you still can't have a definition that's screwed up. The definition is important. That's the governing thing there. That's why it comes in as A. It's the most important thing. So I think it should say, it's defined as a subordinate dwelling unit located on a lot that has only one single family dwelling on it. Period. It can be attached or detached.
Excuse me, Julie, I'm just wondering here, if you added a sentence on that paragraph A and said something like, if a lot has more than one single family home, will
Or a
only allow
duplex
one.
or a triplex or an
Yeah,
apartment.
Okay, we'd only
you
allow
can
one
include an
ADU.
Right. I mean, we could add that sentence.
Just add
there.
that sentence and leave the existing text as it is and just put that qualifier in.
The existing text as it is ambiguous, and that's going to lead to litigation.
Dan, could you provide us with some verbiage that you think we should use?
Yeah, I can. And I think probably where some of this language came is actually from the state statute.
Dan, can you turn up
So-
your microphone or something? It's
Oh,
rather-
sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
That's better, thanks.
Okay, yeah, I think some of this language came from like a version of the state statute, but maybe we can incorporate some more of the definition from the state statute to kind of clarify this. But I understand where the clarification needs to be made, so I can certainly propose some language on this.
Mayor, should we take a break? Let Dan look at that and then come
Yeah, I'm
back?
thinking, okay, we can take a break here. If there's any other questions that we need to have a little research done, anything else come up? Okay, let's take a 10-15 minute break. Thanks. Dan, you've got a little time to work on that. Sound okay?
That works. I'll put it together. Yeah, 10 minutes is
Okay.
more than enough time, so I'll put something together right now.
We just need a perfect answer. No pressure.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so then you have to define the primary is a whole lot.
Oh, I didn't see the
and
rest
then
of
you
your
would-
sentence. Maybe the rest of
And
your sentence.
Accessory dwelling is secondary self-contained living unit on the same lot as a primary residence.
So if I have two primary residences, that doesn't. mean
No,
it's perfect.
primary means one. Primary, in my
Okay.
opinion, is one.
See, to me, the word is different than the word one.
Right.
I can have
I know.
a primary residence on the east end of my lot, and I can have a primary.
No, I don't agree. I think primary denotes usually denotes a single thing.
Okay, well, I don't agree, but that's okay.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying,
With the word one.
well, it's
That-
okay.
it's
It's
nice.
okay. I'm just saying that,
Let's
okay,
make
that's
it
fine.
clear.
Yeah, yeah, I
want
agree.
this to be clear,
I agree.
because when it's
I agree.
ambiguous-
Okay, but there isn't usually the definition, when you say primary, usually there isn't mean, there's two things. Primary denotes a single thing.
I know, and then you get into an argument before planning commission someday
I'm
where
not
people.
trying to, I'm just trying to say that you can say one primary residence, then put word one in there.
Where there's just one residence. If you say one primary residence, that means that I could put an ADU in my backyard, because I have one primary residence, I have a primary residence, and I could have another ADU, and the whole point was that no, if you have anything other than one house, that's a single family house, you can't do it. Right? I have a primary residence at my house.
You're in general residential. So that's the other thing that you need to be also aware of. This code, and we need to look at the definitions, is addressing single family zones. Not
This-
multiple families.
This code is addressing the entire fucking city.
But that is.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
Dan, could you let us know when you have something you're comfortable with?
I'm ready.
You ready? Okay. All
Ready to
right, we'll-
go.
We'll get people to take their seats here in a little bit.
Sure. And I guess if this language is agreeable, maybe what I can do is send it over to Elena, just so you can kind of have it.
Just stand by, Dan, please.
Oh, sure.
Okay, thanks, Fred. Okay, if we could take our seats, I think Dan has something for us. Just give us a minute here, Dan, to reorganize.
Sure, no problem, Mayor.
Okay. Dan, we're all assembled here. If you could go ahead. Let's see, do we have Natalie? Natalie, you're there, Natalie? Okay, hi.
Okay.
And you can hear us okay, Natalie? Okay, great. All right, Dan, if you'd like to enlighten us?
Sure. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So what I did was I took a look at the state statute definition. This is under 24-1152. And then what I did was I took the existing language and kind of used some of the language from the state statute. So I'm certainly, open to criticism if this isn't something that works for city council. But this is the language that I've put together. So you have a subordinate, attached, or detached dwelling unit that provides complete independent living facilities for one or more individuals located on the same lot that contains a single proposed or existing single-family dwelling that includes facilities for living, sleeping, cooking, and sanitation.
Okay.
Does that kind of suit our purposes and concerns, or?
It seems to have been received favorably here.
Okay.
Natalie, did you hear that? Okay. Are you okay with
That's
that?
fine with me. Mhm.
Okay.
It
Okay.
is.
Would you, what I can do, Mayor, I can send it to Elena, just in case you all didn't catch it as well. We can kind of include that and any amendment to the ordinance.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, if you would forward that to Elena, that would be good. Okay. So council, we've got several things here in front of us. Okay, we've got paragraphs E, F, and G. We have the definition here that Dan just addressed, and going back to page 4, paragraph 3, I think the concept there that we were kind of gravitating to was that we wanted the height not to exceed the principal dwelling unit. Now, is there anything else you want to consider? Because we can discuss that. Then I think we'd like to begin moving towards a motion, or maybe we'll need to do these separately. But let's see if there's anything else on the table that we want to discuss. Natalie, since you're over my shoulder, I'll call on you first.
Sure. Again, I would just really like us to consider that any existing unit that is detached, is located in a front yard be considered in this conversation.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from council, or want to move on to these approximately 5 things to just consider? Well, I'm wondering, I think that might be an efficient way of doing it. Is that agreeable? Okay. All righty. Well, let's go to, I think let's take the low hanging fruit first. So on page 3, we had the the definition basically, and I think Dan gave us what we wanted. That seems to be the council's comfortable with that? And Natalie, are you okay with Dan's definition for? Okay.
I am. Yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and I'll accept the motion and we can vote on that part.
Mayor, you have to have a public meeting. This is second
Oh,
reading.
that's right. Okay. All right. Good point. Thank you. Okay, so I will open the public hearing to discuss any of this ordinance or any of these points. So if there's anyone who'd like to speak to this, last man standing. Okay. We certainly welcome public comment. Okay, if not, public hearing is closed. Public comment is ended. Okay, so let's go ahead and take these things sequentially. So on page 3, the definition of ADU. Julie, you want to make a motion?
Yes, I move for, to replace. Oh geez, give me a second. We have to scroll way up here.
Julie, you're dealing with B3.
Yeah, I move to replace 13 dot 12.070. Oh no, is that the right one? Yes, 070 section 4A1. Oh no, that's wrong, sorry. I screwed up. Where is that?
I think it's B3. You're dealing with dimensional standards.
Wait, we want his definition.
I move that 18.04.3.7 subsection B as in boy 1 be eliminated and replaced with what Dan said.
No.
That's not my understanding. I think we're talking about paragraph A defined.
For God's sakes. A, 1804.3.7A definition, sorry,
just dealt
I'm
with
really
that.
tired.
Fine.
Be replaced in its entirety. We use the word defined is fine, and the rest of that be eliminated and replaced with the wording that Dan just read on the record.
Yes.
I will second that.
Okay, motion is second. Any further discussion on that point? If not, let's vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson,
Aye.
motion carries unanimously.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's see. I think next we go to page 4 and we wanted to address dimensional standards. That's 3 dimensional standards. And I think the concept we were dealing with was we wanted the ADU height not to exceed the principal dwelling. Is that correct? I think Julie, you kind of brought that up. So
Yeah.
do you want to, was that your intent?
That would be my intent. Do we have to have public a hearing
Uh,
on that
th-
too? No? Okay.
No.
Then I'll move to amend 18.04.3.7 subsection B as in boy 3 by adding as the last sentence to that, in no event shall the ADU exceed the height of the principal dwelling unit, period.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Michelle. Any further discussion? Let's vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson,
Aye.
motion carries 6-1 when Councilor Fortune is the dissenting vote.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move on. Paragraph E, also on page 4. And you've got that, the red line in front of you.
I know this is going to be not a unanimous vote, but I can put together a motion if I,
Okay,
May.
Julie, if you'd like to make a motion on relative to paragraph E.
E shall be eliminated and replaced with detached ADUs shall not be located in front yards, period. The minimum front setback for a detached ADU shall be the rearmost facade of the primary residence, period.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Chandler. Discussion. I'm wondering if we should make an allowance for existing structures. And I guess actually, Natalie, that's something that's probably closer to your heart. Do you want to address that?
I think, and at a minimum, like the foremost, why would we pick the rearmost portion of the building? So I think either, I mean, I just feel like this is unnecessarily restrictive at this point. But certainly existing structures should be included in the conversation. We have a lot of funky existing structures, but I don't know why the rearmost as well. So those are my two concerns.
Okay.
Because they could be in the side of the yard too. It doesn't have to be in the rear.
This allows it to be on the side.
Can-
I can't hear you,
can speak
Julie. I'm
into the
sorry.
microphone?
I'm sorry, the way it's worded does allow you to put it in the side yard. You just can't put it in the front yard. That's why
So the middle drawing is where we are, the middle example, because you said the rearmost. That's why I was curious. Planning jargon isn't my specialty.
Can I
Right.
clarify?
Yeah.
The language as proposed by Planning Commission, what you see in red, is that says the ADU shall be the front setback for a detached ADU shall be the rearmost facade of the primary residence. So that is the back
that
of
is
the
the back.
house.
Okay.
So the way it's written, it would not allow detached ADUs on the side yard. or
So
the
at a
front.
minimum, I would request that piece be considered at a minimum.
Okay, other comments? Yeah. Well, we can still go.
Julie, I guess I'm curious about what your apologetic is about why you don't even like the language in E as it is in the red line.
Because all I did was add the word that was recommended to us by our planning department. I added the word detached before the word ADUs because we were told that was accidentally omitted. So I'm adopting what the Planning Commission has recommended in E. And I'm just saying that detached ADUs may not be located in the front yard is what planning wanted. And they wanted us to put that detached word there, even though it got omitted by mistake, which, as we were told, allows you to have an attached. So if I want to do an addition to my house and it's an addition, it's not a separate building, and I'm going to put an ADU in my front yard, I can. I just can't put it in my front yard if it's like a separate building, but I can have it be attached. I mean, not my personal house, because my personal house would have to go through HPC too, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm just adopting what Planning Commission is recommending to us, subject to the one word that we were told got omitted by mistake.
Okay, thank you. Well, we have a motion, a second for this. Any further discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson,
Nay.
motion carries with Councilors Weatherholt, Johnson, and Fortune as the dissenting votes.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to paragraph F. That was recommended for deletion by the Planning Commission.
I move to adopt the elimination of F as recommended by Planning Commission.
Thank you.
I'll second that as well, because I believe that Brett has said that it cannot violate our current existing code.
Thank you.
And as part of that, we'll just have to redo the remaining lettering so that we don't have a goofy ordinance that is missing an F.
No, yeah, well,
It's like when you go to a hotel and there's no 13th floor.
okay. Yeah, we'll get that re-enumerated. Okay.
So that's my motion.
Okay, so we have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? F, your motion to remove. Any further discussion? Let's vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson,
Aye.
motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Then there was a question about paragraph G. Planning Commission did not address that, but it was really the letter from the HAB. They talked about that. I don't know if we want to consider, just leave it alone.
I think G, oh, can I jump in? I'm sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead, Julie.
I think G is no longer necessary because it's clarified by A based on the language that our city attorney Dan gave us, isn't it?
I think we ought to just leave it in there as clarification.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to leave it in.
Okay,
So,
it's redundant, but that's fine.
yeah. So it would seem there's no need to take action on G.
Oh, can I put in a suggestion though, so it doesn't look goofy? I think we should take G and have it be the last sentence of A, so that it's further clarifying A. Then it would be less silly. You know what I'm saying? It's a definition of where it can be.
I don't know. I guess I'd be inclined to leave it
Okay,
alone, but
fine.
yeah.
that's fine.
So then it seems the sentiment of council is to leave paragraph G alone.
Which would become F.
It would become,
G,
yeah, be
it just is
everything get moved up.
recodified
Okay.
properly.
Okay. Any comments on that one, Natalie? No, okay.
That's fine.
That G be called F and that H be called G. I guess that would
Okay,
clarify.
enumerated.
I guess
okay.
actually I do have a question regarding that. So if we do make it the definition, we can change the definition if we decide we want to add later on,
Could
if we
change
would
it
like
anytime.
G to be approved. Does that matter if it's in the definition?
Is
No.
the question whether we can change an ordinance in the future if we want to? I
Yeah,
think
I'm
the
just curious as to whether, I mean, changing a definition is just as easy as changing an alphabetical line item, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I can chime in on that. You can certainly modify the definition, or well, I guess this would be F, right? This would be, it would just be a matter of just renumbering them or re-lettering them in this case. So you could do either.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We don't have a, Julie, did you make a motion? I don't think we're really not changing anything, so we don't need a motion. So I think we could just leave it alone. Okay. I think that was everything we wanted to address under the ordinance. So we have, we've addressed 5 topics, made motions on 4 and acted on them.
Mayor, I
Wait.
think you have to then make a motion to adopt everything else that's in here. Right?
Mr. Mayor.
You
Okay,
can't just.
fine, we'll do an umbrella.
gotta do
Okay.
an adoption.
Okay. So who'd like to make that motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve this ordinance subject to the amendments on second reading.
Do you want to give us the ordinance number?
Ordinance number 1925.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second? Okay, second. Okay, so the motion is to accept the separate items that we've already voted on. Just do that as an umbrella motion. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson,
Aye.
motion carries 6-1 and Councillor Fortune has the dissenting vote.
Alrighty, thank you. Okay, well, we've got our ADU ordinance finally by the end of the year. Yeah. Thank you. Very good. Okay, council. We have come to receive or act on council correspondence. Anybody have anything? We can go ahead with your question, Julie.
Question about Grand Avenue. We had a new water emergency recently. Is that the city's liability or the owner's? It looks like it's all the excavation is going on the owner's property. So it's the owner. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay, that was my only question.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, I will mention tomorrow morning is the city employee appreciation breakfast. It's really for city employees, but I think it's worth mentioning. And then on the 13th will be breakfast with Santa Claus here. That's a Saturday morning. It'll be from 8 to 10:30, and that'll be sponsored by the Kiwanis Club. And let's see, the holiday parade is Sunday at, I believe it's 6 o'clock. Okay, so well, those are a couple things that are upcoming. I don't know if there's it's a busy time of year, so if you've got other things you want to mention, that'd be good. Anybody? I guess not. Okay, let's go on to the city administrator's report.
Yeah, I just got notice today and we'll be putting something out that the pool is, there's a couple more things that we need to do with the pool. We're still staying within budget, but it won't be opening until probably the end of January. So it's going to be delayed a little bit for the grand opening of the pool.
Okay, thank you. Actually, that doesn't seem like such bad news considering how much work there was to do down there. To complete it by the end of January will be still, I think, a pretty good victory. Great. Okay, council. Our next item of business is an executive session. It's an executive session to discuss a personnel matter regarding an employee pursuant to 5.1A of the Manitou Springs Municipal Charter. This executive session concerns the annual performance review of the city administrator. So this is something we do every December. So I would seek a motion to go into executive session, and then we'll take a brief recess.
I move that we move into executive session.
Second.
We have seconded by Councilor Fortune. Let's vote.
I would just read the purpose of the executive session, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, please, Dan, if you would.
Or actually, if you could read make the motion to go into the executive session, Mayor.
Okay. Well, okay. I did read it. Dan, I will read it again.
Oh, apologies, Mayor. I might not have heard it.
No, that's okay. Let's just to be clear, I'll read it again. An executive session to discuss a personnel matter regarding an employee pursuant to 5.1A of the Manitou Springs Municipal Charter. This executive session concerns the annual performance review of the city administrator. Okay, and we had, I think, motion by Councilor Chandler with a second by Councilor Fortune, if I remember correctly. Okay. And gosh, did we need to vote still? Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson,
Aye.
Councilor Wolf. Okay. All right, motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, and Mayor Pro Tem Johnson
Yep.
will not be able to join us remotely. That's the city policy for the executive session. So Natalie, we wish you safe travels tomorrow.
All right. Thank you and good luck.
Okay, thank you. Good night. Okay. Our policy is the city attorney can stay on via remote Zoom. So we'll go ahead and make the change, transition. Yeah. Dan, I think we're okay, we're going to go into the executive session, of course, and I will seek your advice here. We're thinking we can get this done without legal supervision. Is that?
Yeah.
That's totally fine. Yeah. I mean, but the purpose of the executive session isn't for legal advice. So as long as, and I'm sure you have the script and everything for once you're in executive session and out. So yeah, so that would be fine. I can certainly sign off, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right.
Dan.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you wordsmithing that definition.
Hey, no problem. You all have a good night.